Every room you enter is a chance to create opportunity, impact, and connection. But if you don't know how to show up with power and presence, then you miss your moment. And this eats me up because honestly, too many brilliant people are shrinking in rooms they were meant to shift. I'm Erin Cole. I'm the founder of Heartbeat Communications. I am a communication strategist, a storyteller, and a professional MC. And I've been on more than 500 professional stages, and this is what I know. Let me tell you what I know. The same skills that you use to command a stage are the same skills that you use to show up and own any room. Welcome to the Owning the Room podcast, and I hope you enjoy this episode. I believe that every human being has something that is their realm of genius, something that they do extremely well, something that when they show up and do it, people are like, oh, amazing. And many of us, even though we know we have those gifts, those talents, we sometimes focus a little bit too much on our weaknesses. And several years ago, Dr. Donald Clifton, I don't know if he's a doctor actually, but he came out with a book called Strengths Finders. And it focused on focusing on your strengths actually being more effective than focusing on your weaknesses. Well, my guest today is a naturally gifted communicator, a naturally gifted engager, but she came to me and said, I need help communicating on stage and engaging on stage. Can you help me? And so she completed the Master Connector Bootcamp, learned how to be a professional MC through one of my programs, came through the Own the Room Challenge, and she's doing wonderful things not only on stage, but also in her career as an entrepreneur. She helps and coaches people in emotional intelligence, really leadership development through the lens of emotional intelligence. And so I'm really excited to welcome my guest today, Miss Kinah Burks. Welcome to Owning the Room, girl. Put y'all virtual hands together for her.
Hey there.
Hey girl, how you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm excellent. I'm so glad to have you on the podcast today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Erin.
Yes, you just recently graduated from the Master Connector Bootcamp. Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned, I've always, since I've seen you do different things and engage with you, I would see you here and there. I think, Kinah's probably pretty good at that. What made you think you needed to develop or grow as a communicator, specifically when it came to presenting on stage?
That's one of my favorite things to think about why I decided to come to you in the first place. I remember when I had the opportunity to MC, and there were gaps in this opportunity on stage that I felt throughout the entire event that I just missed. There were areas where I could have landed the plane, sold the mission, or connected different pieces, and I knew I missed it, and I didn't know what that was. And although everybody loved my charisma and ability to just entertain, I didn't connect. I didn't feel like I sold what I should have sold, and I needed help.
How did you know you missed it? Like if you're up in front of a room and you're doing your job and people are laughing, talking, and then after the event, people say, oh, you did so great. You're so good up there. I could never do that. How did you still know that something was missing?
Well, two things I'll say is, one, I've always wanted to be an MC, and no one ever asked me to be an MC for their events after I MC'd events. And for me,
so wait a minute. So you're saying you've done it before, and then people wouldn't ask you again?
Right. Well, they wouldn't ask me again, or they wouldn't ask me, or a guest wouldn't say, "Oh, I would love for you to be in my event."
Oh, gotcha.
Right. So I wouldn't be able to book events or even have an interest. And I don't know. Holy Spirit just told me, look, you don't know how to land the plane. You're not really making these connections while you're on stage, and not necessarily for the people, but for the message itself.
Yeah.
And the host.
Yeah. Well, that's so important to actually know where you're going as a communicator. It's a huge problem to just open up this can of worms and then you leave these open loops in people's minds. But I think that largely comes from communicating with a host of an event and figuring out what their end goal and objective is. One thing that I do specifically in my work that's different probably from a lot of people that do the kind of work that I do with an MC is I have what's called a creative strategy meeting. And so we went through those. Kinah actually kind of shadowed me in doing that for an event. Once you kind of saw the curtain peeled back on like the process to actually land the plane, so to speak, in a message on stage, what were your thoughts?
My first thought would be I need to make sure that I have enough time to find out what the host of the event really needs, what their desired outcomes are, what their pain points are, so that I have that time to create the flow we need to add the different effects for the event,
Elements,
elements,
activities.
activities, all those things to make sure that we are effective in our communication for this event. And then also the other thing was being a great listener. Just giving them the time and space so I can hear as much as I can, gather all the data I can, all the information that will help aid me in serving them well.
Yeah, you got to be able to learn how to read between the lines.
Man.
And not just guess between the lines, but reading in between the lines so you can ask the right question.
That's what I saw you do so many times talking to different people. It was the questions that I had never thought to ask. I remember you said the true sign of humility is asking questions. And I'm like, okay, well, I asked a few questions. But then they're listening to you, the way that this program is designed for us to connect to the host of the event and to amplify their message and drive home their desired outcome.
Yeah.
That was something that I've never experienced before.
One thing, excuse me, that I ask event hosts often is, well, not often, in the process, is how do you want the audience to feel? What do you want them to see? What do you want them to hear and do as a result of being in the room? And without that information, I cannot actually own that room for the host to actually drive home the reason that they're all coming together. So if you're doing an event, like, why go through all that trouble? Get the people in the room and all that stuff, and not really have a driven plan for the communication from the stage. So yeah, you got to
Experience that.
Yeah. So when you walk into a room, what are things, whether you're going to speak on stage or give a presentation, what are things that you're doing consciously and unconsciously to prepare yourself?
I would say recently, well, after our boot camp, I've been able to just consciously get myself ready, so warming up. Unconsciously, I believe I'm just connecting. Connecting, so when people walk in the room, pretty much greeting everybody I can.
How does that help you if you've already greeted people in the room, if you're the one managing the energy in the room from the front?
That's exactly what you need to do. That's where you need to start, I would say, when it comes to engaging people. So I can look out in the crowd and I can actually make a statement that fits Felicia, who I met on the floor. I can make eye contact with Derek and know that I've had a connection before the stage, that we could share eye contact and it wouldn't be awkward, right, for this guest. Who's like, okay, you're a speaker, you're looking at me. But I'm speaking to when there's a point being made, I can find somebody in the room that I've connected with beforehand.
Yeah.
And that helps me navigate the energy in the room and know who I'm talking to and know how to move this conversation along.
It helps you command.
That's exactly what it does on the room.
It helps you command the stage. What would you say is the biggest difference in your communication in being a part of boot camp, like before and now after?
Confidence. The one thing that I think we talked about too was like just a confidence in knowing that I have enough. I have so much information to give, and I don't need a whole bunch of added pieces or elements to be a blanket or a comfort zone for me. So to deliver the message, and then also, like I said, warming up. So connecting before I walk into a high stakes meeting. I just did this with the Greater Memphis Chamber on the way to this meeting, and I was like, I have to meet, I have to network. And I need to make very intentional connections for a very specific reason. And on the way to the meeting, I am making videos, clearing out my thoughts, all of the different things that I feel that are fearful, that are uncertain. I'm sharing those thoughts literally to this video, deleting it and moving forward. But then after I'm affirming myself, knowing that I've been equipped to go into high stakes rooms and own them by showing up and being myself, and being extremely intentional about what I'm doing here, and not allowing a lot of room for a whole bunch of fluff.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, I don't know about y'all, but for me, that'll lead me into mindless conversations, and I won't reach my goal.
You won't be in control.
I won't, and so that was something that was very impactful. When I got into the room, I connected with the individual I needed to connect with, and we have a date on the calendar now.
Look at it. So you, the practice of preparation and owning the room, you feel like that helps you create opportunities.
I remember I talked to you about landing a plane, making the sale. Those were things that I just hadn't had confidence in. I didn't understand what the connection would be without, so now learning how to continuously dive in and listen and keep a conversation going with somebody helps me find myself as a solution in this dialogue.
Or find that you don't align with that person, and that's okay.
Or find that I don't align. And that is something we're all welcome to. Be okay with not aligning. That was something that was very helpful as well.
So your work, you emcee because you love it, but your 9-to-5 work is coaching, facilitating professional development.
Yes.
And you do that through the lens of emotional intelligence. Throwing out a lot of words here.
All in the fields.
What is emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage, understand, and leverage your emotions, as well as be empathetic for other people's emotions as well. I see that as a lens where it's like the bridge between just showing up and then showing up intentionally for other people and for yourself. And it's also just a way to make sure that we connect in a way that it helps benefit relationships other than negatively impact them. It helps us to navigate making decisions effectively for ourselves and others as we're leaders. And then it also helps us all just choose to, I like to say, build skills of resilience so that we can continuously overcome different challenges.
Okay, so the work you're doing, just want to make sure I understand correctly, it's really creating culture in the workplace.
Yep, through individuals. So one of my current contracts is serving those who are coming out of prison or they're impacted by gun violence. And a lot of times we have people, we have big old job needs, employment needs. There's a big gap in workforce development, and people say, get them jobs. But then you get them a job and they can't keep the job. And so as we've been doing this work for the last probably 6.5 years now, we realize that they don't have the emotional capacity to maintain the job under pressure. And so those, for them, are high-stakes environments.
Okay.
And so how do we equip you with those tangible tools through emotional intelligence to navigate these challenges with people, since you've come out of a situation that has had you essentially in like this emotional cage? Everybody understands it. What ain't said, it's totally understood. But now in the free world, how do we help you live outside of that I'll call social cage?
Let me just stop right. Let me go back. I'm asking a question, but we live in a culture that celebrates being emotionally incompetent, dumb, immature. Blocked, canceled, and so we're not showing up to the room to address the conversation. I don't have time. If it just
causes any kind of discomfort, then I want to evade.
Yeah. And so if you don't evade, if you approach the conversation, if you show up, what's on the other side of that? Yeah.
One of my favorite stories was a guy I was leading at Chick-fil-A. We received him from the penal farm. And he's actively finishing out the rest of his 18 months of a almost 20-year sentence. And he's on work release, and he's a little rough around the edges, but he has a really great, passionate, and compassionate heart. Very just driven. We spent about 18 months together, holding him accountable and providing opportunity to work and lead others. And he Facebooked me maybe sometime last year and told me that he was like, man, I just want to thank you so much for all the work and the time and the space you've given me to grow. I've been able to now these are his words, I like saying it though, I've been able to clock my first $125,000 in a year training other people.
Wow.
So for me, it was like, emotional intelligence allows people to be human again, allows people to truly connect and see opportunity for themselves, then also be confident enough to help provide the space that they've received for other people to do the same thing too.
So we create emotional intelligence cycles.
That's it, literally.
Instead of generational curses.
There you go.
We create emotional intelligence celebrations.
That's what I'm like, the last one. Sorry. I don't have that.
There's a lot of words. So my background, spent a lot of time on stage, like my entire life. And what I found that no matter if I'm acting or emceeing or whatever, that these skills are like, to manage the energy in the room are transferable skills. What have you found have been your most usable MC skills?
Storytelling. I picked that up immediately. We actually had a conference a few weeks after completing the boot camp, and I said, no, we're gonna tell stories. And a group of wonderful individuals, some county professionals, city professionals, after that conference, and they're like, no, this is so impactful. Now I want to take this back for my team. Can you help us bring this back to our teams? And it helped just make that connection and sell what we actually do and what we can do in a fun, engaging, interactive, energy boosting way. It allowed people in the room to connect to the story that they already live, they've already managed, but then in a safe environment where they're not worried about who's judging them or who's going to get a ridicule, some kind of consequence. It was a space where they could actively move through it and be themselves and be open to learn and or provide value or add value.
What would you say to someone who feels like they have a message when they see the Oprahs of the world, the Obamas of the world, the beautiful communicators of the world, and say, I think I could do that, or I want to do that. And they just kind of doubt themselves, shrink back a little bit. What would you say?
Don't wait as long as I did. Jump out there and do it. Find a coach. Aaron Cole is right here. There are coaches out there who you pay to work with you, to help you, I'll say this way, to see those blind spots, to help you identify those areas of insecurity, and again, using your dollar to motivate you, if that's what could motivate you, to overcome and go through the process. Don't wait. Don't wait. There's nothing wrong with getting coaching ahead of time and not getting the jobs. Equipping someone is what helps them build confidence. And so the longer I wait, the less equipped I'll be, the more I'll build these core beliefs that aren't true anyway. And so for me, it was just the right time, the right opportunity, and the perfect person. And I had to jump on it regardless and get a job here, take a job there to make sure I could pay for it, but it's benefited me so much.
Well, I've really enjoyed working with you. You're like the most perfect client to have. No, seriously, because of your energy that you already bring and the fact that you already desire, like it wasn't like pulling teeth, and obviously it probably would never be because you got to pay for this. You know what I mean?
Some people like wasting their money. Okay?
But no, they do. You would be surprised at how many programs that people buy and
Never
like
participated.
they've never opened their portal or done the things or shown up for a call. Like, it happens more often than you would think. And so, but you were so engaged and ready to take on the information, and you had so many questions that I was just like, let me find other opportunities for her to see my work, for me to pull back the curtain on it, so that it can actually help you. And the one thing I wanted you to see and know is that these things that you use on stage, you can use them everywhere to open those doors.
Yes, indeed.
Storytelling is relevant, not just here, but also in that conversation. You've done so well.
I
So
appreciate that so much.
what does owning the room mean to you?
It means to be able to be confident, secure, and sensitive enough to engage, navigate, and take authority of the energy in the room, to allow to move people towards this end goal.
Kinah, thank you so much for the way you've shown up in the boot camp. Thank you for the way you show up on stage. You are truly a gift to the world. I think I shared with you, I looked up the meaning of your name, Kinah. It means to lament, but when I think about the person that you are and the energy that you bring to a space, I think it's more so that you hold space for people to be in whatever energy they are in, and you can help, direct them in a positive direction from that point. And so that's truly a gift, and I just celebrate you for that gift that you are. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Erin. This has been a pleasure and a great honor.
Hey, if you enjoyed that episode, I hope you did. Share it with somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, all the things. And if you want to keep up with how you can own your own room, check out the show notes for more. I hope to see you next time.